Right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to grand opening of our second campus. First of all, thank you. First of all, let me thank you all for coming. It's incredible to see all the faces. Some of you guys have been around for some time with us. I'm happy to see new faces. So thank you for coming and sharing this special moment with us. I would also like to thank the whole campus team for preparing this event, but also for working very, very hard to actually make this event and this atmosphere and everything possible. I'm super proud of the team, and I think, yeah, there is a lot of interesting and powerful things coming up. Also, I would like to introduce my co-founders from 100 Ventures, who are also part of the core team, Martin, Michael, and Marek. Yeah, so thank you. Just a kind of quick overview of what's been happening for the past 2 years. Some of you might know that we started already more than 2 years ago. It was us four joining this building, the second floor. 2 years ago, we started our first co-working in Mlynska Dolina. At that time, we're hoping that one day we're gonna establish a strong startup community. Little did we know that, fast forward to today, we are actually one of the largest startup communities in the region with more than 200 members. And yeah, the 2 years went very fast. There's been a lot of things happening in our first space. We organized or partnered with more than hundreds, actually it was hundreds, not even more than hundreds, it was hundreds of events from different mastermind groups to workshops to small conferences or some hackathons we organized with our corporate partners. We also brought some of the brightest and most successful entrepreneurs and introduced them to our community. And we also did some interesting or crazy stuff. For example, we started a coding school for kids and teenagers that's been running for more than 2 years now. Or we organized a yoga classes on our terrace that's been running every summer. It's been super interesting. But yeah, at some point we realized that we need some more space. We actually need to allow more people to join our community. So that's why we decided to open our second space with our friends from Hosu, who actually helped to furnish our first space. But now we partnered up and created a relationship which basically the result of you're part of today. Yeah, and together we reached our milestone, which is after 2 years, we officially have 2 spaces, and soon we will be able to allow or bring 250 more people to our community. I hope some of you are actually gonna be part of this journey, so it's gonna be a lot of interesting stuff happening in near future. Yeah, so as of these days, since we are officially open, you guys can recognize us or actually perceive us as 2 spaces, but 1 community. So Campus Mlini is our co-working space based in Mlynska Dolina. There is still plenty of space to join, so some of you who are more inclined to be close to Mlynska Dolina or that part of Bratislava, feel free to stop by. We always have 1 day for free. We have a lot of events, so anytime you just want to check out the space, stop by. And the second space, this space is the fresh new one. We called it Campus City. Slightly bigger capacity. There is few empty desks, even few empty private offices. So if you guys want to check out the space, feel free to just walk around after the event, ask me, my co-founders, or the whole team about anything you are interested in, or just stop by tomorrow, have coffee, chill around, and enjoy the atmosphere. All right, so enough talking from my side. Now I would like to give word to my colleague, Rastio. Rastio is actually the guy who's mainly responsible for creating this online kind of identity. He's 21. When I was 21, I can say I was a bit lost what I want to do. It was in between my studies, and I was like, we'll see how it goes. Rastio is already there. I'm super proud of him. He's one of the strongest parts of our team, and I'm super proud that tonight he's going to be moderating, I think, one of the most interesting discussions, because we're going to have some very interesting guests tonight, so I'm very much looking forward. So please, please, please give huge applause for Rastio.
Wow, thank you, Dusan. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming. It's my pleasure to welcome you here in Campus City at the first startup grind happening here. And before we kick this off, I would like to give some logistic info. So the most important toilets, they are right in there in the hall on the right side. Second one is, if you are a smoker, you have to request for your car to the elevator and take the first elevator on the right side to the 7th floor. And the third one, if you want to explore Campus City more, there are 2 times scheduled for Campus City tours. The first one is at 8:30, second one is at 9, and the third is at 9:30 p.m. So yeah, now I got a question for the audience. Whoever was on the startup grind before? Yep. All right. So for those who don't know Startup Grind, it's a global community designed to inspire, connect, and educate all over the globe. I'd also like to give a shout out to our sponsors, Decent and Campus. And the last one, before I call our guest to the stage, is that we do have a Slido in here. Yeah, so just go to slido.com/SG eyerim and ask your questions in there. So, I don't know if Martin is... Alright, Martin is not in here.
Oh my god.
So yeah, oh my god. What now? We have to call Martin. Yeah, let me introduce first Zahuranec, so please big applause. So yeah, I'm very excited to talk to you about e-commerce today. And yeah, you can introduce yourself until your brother will come.
Hi, good evening. My name is Andrea, as I was introduced, and I am one of the co-founders of eyerim. Today I will be talking about our startup eyerim together with my brother, who is another co-founder of eyerim. But now we have to wait a little bit because he's smoking outside. Yeah. I cannot sing, I cannot dance, so we'll have to wait in silence.
He's coming, I just hope.
That's typical him, actually. So.
So we have time for jokes? Yeah, alright. So we do have a joke in there? Alright. We have Martin. Jokes at the end, I'm sorry. Yeah, Martin. So hello, Zahuranec. It's my pleasure to talk with you tonight about e-commerce. And welcome on stage, both of you. I'm sorry, we do have some technical issues in here. It's because it's open just for 2 days right now in campus. Thank you, Matusz. So, welcome on stage, guys. You are two of the founders of eyerim, premium eyewear retailer currently operating in 17 countries across Europe.
12 since last month, but it used to be 17, yep.
All right, yeah. But I'd like to start earlier than that and ask you a simple question. And who do you want it to be when you grow up?
All right, so I'll start. First of all, thanks for having us. Thanks for coming. For me, it was not always clear. I was thinking about it a lot actually a couple of weeks ago because I was asked the same question and I didn't have an answer, but last time I was home visiting parents, I was going through some old stuff, from childhood hidden in our drawers and so on. And I found out a really interesting thing. I found a small notebook where apparently at the age of already 7, I was kind of having my first imaginary company selling cars and electronics. I had a full catalog with prices and everything. That was a really interesting find. So I assume that I kind of deep down I was always an entrepreneur.
I was also I was selling imaginary insurance to my family, to whole family. They had to buy it. So Andrea, please you.
We're more sophisticated.
Like a marketing guy, yeah?
I was not that ambitious, I guess. I always wanted to be a bus driver. Even until high school, I guess.
All right. So you can continue about your childhood. How was it?
It was amazing. I think we really had one of the best childhood one can possibly have. My parents had a cottage in the middle of forest, like in the Slovak paradise. So we grew up in there. So I remember a lot of nature, forest, a lot of animals, snakes, and freedom.
Martin?
Yeah, I have similar memories. I think it's also connected to by coincidence. Yeah. I also remember, and I would describe myself as more as a kind of nature kid than a city dweller. And most of our childhood we've spent in the forest, in our cottage. It's located in the heart of Slovak Paradise National Park. So it's always about being in the woods, building bunkers, hunting snakes, and so on. And then I think that what really formed us was that our parents were always extremely benevolent. There was nothing like there was something forbidden or we would have to come home at a certain time or something like that. So we had complete freedom to do whatever we wanted, and then I guess it also translated to our adult life because we have a complete freedom to do what we want and we didn't want to be limited by something.
All right, and then what type of student were you when you were young?
Okay, this time I'll start. Thinking about the time when I was still studying in Slovakia, like my grammar school and high school, I was always a good student in terms of performance. I was always having good grades, but I don't think that I was, like a obedient student in terms of that. I was always having some issues with teachers. I was several times, in the principal's office because of something, because we were still doing something, bad, or staying after school and destroying stuff with my friends. And I think that I always kind of knew how to cheat the system. I always knew when is that important exam that I need to study, once a year, when to raise my hand, how to work with the teachers and so on. So I think I was achieving the maximum result with minimum effort.
Yeah, same here. I was never devoting a lot of time to school, even though I was always getting good grades. So, yeah.
Yeah, so the primary and secondary school, that's it, yeah?
Yeah.
All right, and then at the university you both studied in Vienna. What did you study in here?
Both of us international business administration.
All right, and why didn't you choose Slovakia for this kind of industry?
Because I knew that I will be killing 5 or more years by studying, so I wanted to spend it well, something that pays off.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's not gonna be surprising if I'll start with saying the same with me. I kind of realized that when I go to the university, everything that I will learn will mostly not be from the curriculum and from what the university teaches me. It's going to be more about the network, about the international exposure, about people that I will meet. And I was never a person who would be choosing, you know, the easy path in life, and going abroad was definitely something more challenging, and then turned out also more rewarding.
So the biggest value you gained during your studies in there was a network, or?
I think the most important thing that I've learned during my time in Vienna, and I haven't even finished my university, I'm a dropout, was discipline. Our school was extremely demanding, and it was, unlike Slovak schools, extremely impersonal. There was nothing, it was a completely flexible system. There was nothing like several exams that you need to finish this semester in order to continue. You could have decided that you're gonna do only 3 exams per semester and you will be studying for 8 years, or you could have decided, it was super flexible. So if you wanted to achieve something and you wanted to progress, it was always completely up to you. So it was always discipline.
Right, the same in there, Andrea? All right. Yep, we are getting closer to the eyerim question. So what was right before eyerim? Can you tell us?
Right before the idea about eyerim came to me, I was still a student. I was 25 years old, so I was in Vienna studying. And Martin, he was working basically for the same kind of business in Malaysia. So once he called me and asked, and I didn't hesitate. I was 100% in immediately. So I started taking care of all the formalities and waiting for Martin to come.
Yeah, well, I think when I'm thinking about it, the story of eyerim is full of completely ridiculous coincidences and, you know, like this butterfly effect kind of stuff, and starts at the opposite side of the planet. But in short, the first job that I ever landed was in Vietnam. That was building a big e-commerce project for Southeast Asia. Later on, I relocated to Malaysia, and in Malaysia, what was like a pivotal point is that I met Yas, our co-founder. And we found an incredible synergy in the sense that what we have in common is that we always wanted to challenge ourselves, and it was clear that we want to build something on our own. And where we differed was professional experience. Yas was always more of a marketing person. She knew how to win the market. I was always more of an operational person. I knew how e-shop should be done. And then one day, after a big disagreement with the management of the company that we work for, we decided to leave, and we just decided, okay, fuck it, let's build something on our own. It's now or never. And we knew that in order to build something as courageous as eyerim, we would need like more partners in crime. And we're thinking like, who could it be? And the choice was obvious. It was Ada and Brano. So we had a quick Skype call, we pitched the idea, we'd like to do that together, and within 24 hours we had a clear, yes, let's do that.
So basically you get an idea of creating e-commerce project in Vietnam and Malaysia? Yep, alright. And have you got some clear vision of building something on your own at the studies?
Not at all.
Alright. Yeah, let's jump to the present section. Then in May 2015 you founded eyerim, and how was the beginning of an e-commerce startup like this?
I think it was difficult because none of us were really prepared. We didn't know what to expect, and we were really surprised when we got the investment even before the website was live. And we were not even 1% expecting that it could be from a Slovak venture capital, like from Slovakia, I mean. So yeah, it was full of surprises, full of unexpected things, and full of fails as well.
So you didn't really realize like what you stepped in?
I think we were realizing on the go, not prepared, just experiencing what was happening, and somehow we didn't even have time to think about that somehow deeply, I think. We were just reacting to what was happening.
I'd agree. I think that what actually made eyerim possible and successful was that we were kind of stupid and completely naive. Every time I met someone and I told them that we have just raised 200,000 euro and we're going to open an international e-shop in 17 countries, everyone was like, you're completely crazy. And I think that because we were so naive and we really believed that it's possible, somehow it became possible. But right now, if someone approached me and told me the same idea, I would also most probably tell that person that you're crazy, it's not possible.
Yeah. So it was kind of garage project that is mostly known from startup world. And how did your first garage or office look like?
Our first official office was in the spot here in Bratislava. But before we even had an office, we actually started eyerim from a small, tiny apartment in Vienna. That was the place where Ada and Brana lived. So we came back from Asia with Yaz and we moved there. It was 1.5 rooms. We were living there, and the place where Ada used to keep her cosmetics and stuff, she had to, like move everything away so that we could put the first sunglasses in there. And it was just bad. Like, I don't know, like Ada can tell you more, but every single time I've been talking about it, she looks at me and then tells me like don't remind me of the time.
So yeah, it's obvious that I don't want to talk about that, right?
So yeah, it was the first office, or the first and second. And how did the third look like?
So after Spot, we moved to campus. And we were actually one of the first companies that moved in, if I remember correctly. And I remember that for the first time when the idea came that we will be moving to campus, we came there and it was completely empty. It was like a new building, nothing inside. And I just walked in and I was like, I cannot even imagine how the office will look like, but we didn't really have any other choice because we knew that the team was growing so fast that we really would need a new office within 2 months. And after 2 months, we moved into the fancy office, the one that we really loved, and it was really good looking, everything was new, the team loved it, and it was really nice. We just felt sorry that after half a year we had to move again.
Yeah, you outgrown campus, and we didn't met in campus actually. I'm working here like for 10 months. So how was it back then? How was campus? How was the community?
It's actually really, really nice to remember. Because when I moved back to Slovakia, one of the first people whom I met in Bratislava was Marek, founder of campus. And it was an extremely rare coincidence because he used to be my colleague in Malaysia. And then we're having a conversation, what are you doing back in Bratislava? And I'm like, I'm starting my own project. And he was like, I'm also starting my own project, it will be a co-work. So he invited me for one of the very first conferences that they were having. Back then it was not even called O100 Campus, it was called Rubik's Lab. So it was their tiny startup, Marek Vidushna were there. It was my tiny startup that I was talking about. And then, I mean, it's amazing to see that we're progressing at the same pace because 3 years later, these guys are doing an amazing job opening the second space, and we're glad that yet again we're sitting here with them. So, congrats.
Congrats too. Now let me pick some question from in here. We do have an elevator pitch in there. So you get like 1 minute and tell us what is eyerim.
eyerim is an international e-shop selling eyewear, which means sunglasses, prescription glasses, and snow goggles in winter. We are active in 12 countries. That's it, simply speaking.
Great. Martin, do you want to have your elevator pitch?
I mean, I would tell exactly the same. Maybe I would just add a mission statement. So, while being international, we're always trying to be Slovak at the very heart. And I would say that the ultimate goal is to offer everything eyewear under one roof, not only when it comes to categories, but everything from fashion to functional, from mainstream brands to independent manufacturers. And the important thing is having fun while doing so.
All right, now we are backtracking to the foreign experience from Malaysia and Vietnam. To you, Martin, how important was this info or this knowledge you got in there to build the success of eyerim?
I think it was absolutely pivotal. Like without that, it wouldn't happen. And I would certainly recommend to everyone going through something like that. The thing is that in Slovakia, everything is happening, but everything is happening on a completely smaller scale. Everyone is thinking in small. If you think about just venture capital, in the US it's called venture. It means like adventures. In Slovak it's called the rizikowy capital. It means risk. Everything is more prudent. Everything is more conservative. So I think it was just going to Asia and then seeing that everything can happen on steroids. Everything can be faster, bigger, sweeter, and so on. Made us realize that this is possible.
And yeah, then you started actually, right when you started you opened 7 markets, I think. And we've got a question, how did you manage to spread the project? But you was actually spread when you started, yeah?
Which project? You mean eyerim?
eyerim.
I mean, not 100% sure if I understand the question, but it's like how did we manage to do the international expansion across the entire Europe?
Yeah.
Like
yeah. This is the small thinking.
I think what was the really important thing that we always believed in the idea. Like I think in Facebook they say done is better than perfect. Co-founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman, always used to say that if you're no longer ashamed of it, you're launching it too late. And we had the same idea about it. We just copied the same website in 17 countries, purchased 17 domains. We hired a couple of freelance translators of Upwork, translated the websites, connected them to the database, and boom, it was done.
Yeah, do you have like this brief, easy thinking about it, Andrea?
Yeah, Martin just summed it up, but it was not that easy as it sounds.
Yeah, all right. Nowadays, eyerim is trying to build a community around brand. And how important do you think it is to build a community around an e-commerce brand?
Very important. We have eyerim family in which we are gathering really capable people, interesting people like sportsmen, bloggers, influencers, photographers, models, whoever is doing something interesting, and we are somehow supporting them either in their career or whatever they wish for. It's nothing huge, but it's something that we are able to do with our capacities, with our resources.
And how many people is in family right now?
Altogether, in all countries, it must be more than 50. But majority of them are from Slovakia.
Yeah. All right. So we have another question from Slido, and yeah, it's the first one. What do you attribute your success to?
I think it's a mix of more aspects, but for me, it's mainly the team and people that stand behind the company.
I do not think that success is something that you can attribute to one thing, like I'm successful because of international experience, or I'm successful because of synergy or management or something. I think that what stood behind populational and behavioral changes. Fashion is like a combination of, eyewear is a combination of fashion and personal care, and with people in Europe being richer and at the same time more educated, they are realizing that this is exactly the product that you should invest into.
Right. And the second one is maybe for Andrea as a creative director in eyerim. What do you think is, what's the thing that you like the most at your website, at your eyerim's website?
Simplicity and the design. We are constantly working on it, and we are trying to make the shopping process as feasible as possible. So, yeah, intuitive website, easy to use.
All right, Martin?
I would say the same. We do not consider sunglasses, glasses the product that we sell. You can buy the same things that you buy on eyerim on 200 different websites. Our product is everything around. It's the mantra, it's the brand, it's the ease with which you use the website, it's the service.
All right. Now, one from Slido about these numbers. Could you give us some numbers? Like turnover customers or whatever, sort of products, yeah.
Anya wanted to talk about numbers. She likes talking about P&L and the EBITDA and so on. Well, eyerim is on the market for pretty much 3 years. This year we'll be closing with around 5 million net revenue. Next year we're targeting 10. At this moment we have 45 employees, and up to date we have shipped almost 80,000 orders to customers across Europe.
Yeah, and I read that eyerim is growing each month like for 25% more. Is it still actual or?
It was that was more for 2017 because we're still small at scale, and it's very easy to grow 100% if you're going from 2 to 4, but very difficult if you're going from 2 million to 4 million. But yeah, we've grown 100% year over year, and we're still growing 10 to 20% month over month.
All right, let's jump onto the shipping. I've heard about always free shipping principle. Do you have some strategy behind it, or is it like your statement somehow?
Well, we're doing that mostly because the competition is doing that, so it's a standard in the market. And what allows us to do that is that we're selling a relatively expensive assortment. Average order value is almost 110 euros. So in that, 2-3 euros for shipping can easily be hidden.
All right, we've got highlighted question. What else is eyerim doing that differently? Like,
For sure, it's the range of products that we offer. We have unparalleled collection. Then for sure, free shipping and also possibility to return within 30 days without questions, and also the virtual try-on that has been set up recently, and people can basically try on their sunglasses or glasses at home using webcam. And also always being innovative, coming with new ideas, new concepts.
all right, looking into the future, do you plan to have any additional methods of shipping in a range of maybe 5 years, like the drones or something?
Absolutely, we would love to. So once it will be possible in Slovakia, if our legislative gives a green signal, we will, I guess, be one of the first e-shops doing so. Yeah.
So for the broader market, you are not already planning it somehow, or for the Scandinavia, or?
We can very hardly do drones deliveries in Scandinavia because our warehouse is in Bratislava, so I don't know, I guess it would take even longer with recharging. But yeah, I mean, we're primarily not a logistics company, so it's not our move, but whatever is on the market, whatever becomes possible on the market, we'll definitely try to adapt.
And how do you see in general the future of shipping in Europe?
Well, it's a funny thing, but yet again, this is something that's not in my hands. It's in the hands of people doing logistics and in the hands of logistics companies improving something. And I would say that surprisingly in Slovakia, even in Czech Republic and in Hungary, shipping is already pretty developed. And in Slovakia, we're able to deliver to almost 90% of the customers in one day after shipping. But then you have like super crazy countries like Romania, where 80% market is still cash on delivery, and couriers are completely crazy. Like some of the distant villages that are still delivering on Ladas, and it takes 4 weeks for the cash to actually arrive back to eyerim. So I mean, we're talking about future, but I think we still need to fix the present, especially in Eastern Europe when it comes to shipping.
And still talking about the future, where do you see eyerim in next few years? 1, 5, and 10 years.
Yeah, it's one of those questions that especially like investors and everyone is always asking you, and I think that in general these kind of questions are complete bullshit. Also, like, please prepare a business plan for 3 years to come. I do not have a crystal ball. It can happen that next year a crisis comes and we'll go bankrupt, or it can happen that in 5 years we'll have a billion valuation. I really don't know. Like, the only thing that I know is that we always want to be sharp. We always want to prove ourselves. We do not want to stagnate. We do not want to keep the status quo. We always want to do what is possible to do. And our goal, I would say, is I would like to see eyerim become a synonym for eyewear. Like, if you think about diapers, what pops up in your mind is Pampers. If you think about in Slovakia about buying electronics, what pops up in your mind is Alza. I want to think of eyerim as, if you say sunglasses, glasses, like the first thing that pops up in your mind is eyerim. That's the choice.
All right, Andrea?
I have no idea. I am actually not the kind of person that plans the future. I don't really think about the future, and since we have eyerim, I know that something unpredictable can happen even tomorrow. So I decided to give up on planning that much.
Martin, you mentioned investors and your first investment. Can you describe your fundraising process?
Well, honestly, I can, but I think that, like today we're having startup grind about eyerim. If we want to talk about fundraising, we would need to have another startup grind dedicated just to that, or maybe even 2 or 3, because it's a crazy, very difficult process. We've been through 3 financing rounds, just closing another one. The first one was equity. We've been through convertibles. We've been through share premiums. Right now, we're making a combination of that with like top-ups possible. But I don't know. Like, you create a pitch. You send it to selected investors, and then you see what happens. That's in short. My only advice would be, it definitely doesn't work in a way that I have an idea and if someone gives me money, I will do that. Like, first need to do that, you need to dedicate yourself to that, you need to prove something, ideally have a couple of customers, and then when it has traction, then it's possible to get the investors.
Alright, so let's head back to an e-commerce. And when you started off, on what platform was eyerim? Was it custom made all the time, or?
Not custom made. Like, the platform is Moderator, but I mean the design and the website. We made it all by ourselves, and from the beginning it was pretty funny because we were doing everything ourselves without any experience, and then after the investment we finally had some money to hire a proper designer and do a better job.
Alright, and beside website, do you have any other touch points where the potential customers can find you and buy your products?
No.
Like an Instagram shop or something?
No.
Alright. Talking about Instagram, you are pushing your content like to real good quality, both on Instagram and Facebook. And do you think that every e-commerce model should push the quality high, of the content quality high, or?
For sure, it depends on the kind of the business, but with us, it was somehow natural that we need to create something in-house, and all the pictures are being created in-house from the beginning.
All right, and what is your most powerful channel right now, like a marketing channel? Talking about marketing.
PPC campaigns, but Martin can talk about that because it's too analytical and number related. But when it comes to social media, for me, it's absolutely Instagram and the influencer trend that has been happening during the last year.
Yeah, and Martin, about this analytical stuff.
I would say, no, this is also one of the questions that I'm getting quite often, especially at the conferences, like what is the ideal marketing mix, or what is the key to success in terms of marketing for an e-shop? And it really depends. If you take a look at, for instance, Slovak e-shop Innocent Store, they built the entire success based on blog. You take a look at Jedoles and Zahuranec's Jedoles, and they built the entire success around Facebook. Our success is PPC advertising on Google mostly, because we're selling products that people are constantly looking for. There's a lot of people, and always will be, who are putting into Google sunglasses, Ray-Ban, Oakley, Prada, Gucci. So we're very successful in capturing these people and capturing them also at the very advanced stages of shopping process. And like if you sell some funky t-shirts, or if you sell socks or something, then it's a lot easier for you to just capture those people who are bored scrolling through their feed on Facebook, and all of a sudden show them something that is like, oh, okay, I can get that. But eyerim strategy also for capturing new markets has always been, let's open a new country and let's spend a lot of money on PPC advertising. Let's just carpet bomb the entire market, because that is the most expensive but also the cheapest. And once you see that this is working, then you start working on brand, organic, adding paid social, getting influencers, putting effort into Instagram, starting blog, and eventually you know that the proportion of organic is growing. In 2017, 70% of eyerim's revenue was coming from PPC. Right now it's down to 40, because for instance our direct and organic went from nothing to 30%.
Alright, so, and you are planning to push this PPC strategy forward as long as you can, or are you planning to open any other touch points than a website, or?
We will always do PPC as long as it's efficient and profitable. What I was trying to say is that when you're opening a new country, it's dependent almost to 100% on PPC, and as the market grows, as customers are becoming more aware of your brand, then more and more people are coming from organic and more efficient channels. You have more people that you can reach through newsletter, more fans on social media, and so on. So you're having this economies of scale effect.
And is it some different in other countries in these PPC campaigns, or than in Slovakia?
Not really.
All right, and talking about content, how is it in other countries?
We have a unified content, so we promote the same campaigns, the same content, the same pictures, everything the same across all countries that we are present in. So nothing special.
All right, and what is the company culture across Europe when you're operating in currently 12 countries? How is it to manage all of those people?
You mean like the corporate culture, or?
Yeah.
So majority of the team is here in Bratislava in our offices, and we have flat hierarchy. We are super friendly. Majority of the team, basically, it's not our colleagues, it's our friends, and even though we are super friendly and we talk about everything and we spend a lot of free time together, they still respect us. So that's something that we really value the most, that we found some kind of equilibrium between the, they respect us, but at the same time we are really close and talk about everything.
Yeah, you have the same opinion, Martin?
Yeah, I mean, I'm under impression that I'm talking a lot more than I should be, perhaps, but yeah, I would agree. For us, it's not only important whether you're an expert in the field. I think that for every key hire, we're always asking one crucial question: is this a person with whom I would voluntarily go and have a beer in the evening? And I would like that. So having people that are having the same mentality and who blend together with our culture is extremely important. There is still no bullshit policy, and at the same time, as Ada said, there's flat hierarchy in the sense that we do not believe that authority comes from a title just because I'm a CEO or I'm a founder. You need to lead by example.
All right, let's jump into the last question at the Slido. Why should people buy sunglasses in eShop? How is it different? What's the advantage for a customer?
For me, it's an easy question because I'm that kind of a person that shops for toilet paper online even. So I hate physical stores. I hate shopping. I haven't been to Old Park or any shopping center for like ages. It kills me, and that's basically the reason for me. It's the convenience, basically, yeah. Yeah, and as Daniel says, we are cheaper than majority of our competitors.
Yeah, right. And you can you can try it in your eShop somehow when you want to.
Yes, as said, we have the 30 days return policy, so that means people can order, try on at home, and then return within 30 days without any questions from our side. And then the other thing is the virtual try-on that I already talked about.
And talking about these AR, VR abilities, do you think that they can ever replace brick and mortar, or?
Absolutely, but I think it will take a lot of time until the generation changes. The customers are still super traditional, and sometimes I even wonder because still majority of Slovak customers, they use CODs as the payment method, which for me is really like a headache. Why?
Yep.
Same question?
Yes, same question for you.
So the VR AR question.
Yes.
I guess it really depends on how far into the future you're looking at. I don't know, like maybe in 100 or 200 years, you will not even move from your house because you will have your brain downloaded to USB stick, they connected to some like simulation or something. But I think that it's definitely becoming a topic already right now. And in eyerim we're offering the virtual try-on. There is some kind of like semi 3D modeling. We're working right now for 2019 to have a full 3D modeling and then virtual try-on. And I think that with all the technologies that like each of us are already using, even without maybe realizing it, like artificial intelligence, VR, augmented reality, it's definitely becoming more and more of a topic.
And on the other hand, do you plan to maybe open a brick and mortar in the future, or definitely not?
Yeah, we're actually planning to open our first showroom in 2019 already. However, we do not treat it as a retail channel. We do not think that it's a place for people to buy, and we do not expect a lot of revenue coming from there. It should be a fun space. It should be some kind of a physical extension of your brand where people can come, have a good time, have some conference, interact with something, and then eventually, like maybe even on a Big Mac screen, shop on eyerim from there.
Maybe it could also be like a pickup point or return point. So yeah, we will see.
Yeah, like Alza. Yeah, and what else? Which else e-shops do you like in a Slovak e-commerce scene, and maybe their functionalities later?
It's always my turn. I think there's a lot of e-shops and CEOs in Slovakia that I admire for different things, and I think that everyone is a good and example to others in something different. I think that Dalibor Cicman and his Jim Beam is absolutely amazing, and he killed every one of us in terms of like private label and selling his own products. I think that Peťo Bot and his electronic star is amazing when it comes to logistic solution and how analytical and transparent they are and how data driven he has built this company to be. And of course, guys from Food Shop. I'm loving and admiring what kind of community and feel and brand and high-end website they managed to create.
I love Vemzul. Not sure if anyone knows them, but I love mainly their copywriting and the way they are communicating with their customers.
All right. And how would you innovate the Slovak ecosystem of e-shops? Is there anything, Martin?
I don't know, like, there are two things that I do not like about this question. First is, like, how would you innovate something Slovak, or how would you help Slovakia? Like, really, I don't care. I just want to do good things, and I do not see any reason why I should do good things, particularly for a group of people living within some imaginary border. I'm not buying this. And then secondly, I do not think it should be me who should be helping to innovate startup system or create something specifically good for startups. If we have good government and not this corrupt shithole that we have here, then startups will come automatically.
Another one from Slido. What's the biggest bottleneck for eyerim right now? Zidane?
Cash, definitely cash. Like, the more cash we can have, the more products we can have in the warehouse, and the faster we can deliver, and so on. Fundraising.
Yeah, and how do you persuade customers to buy prescription glasses online?
Quite easily. The lenses that we sell are like triple cheaper, as in brick and mortar stores. So the price mainly.
So that's it. What's your imagination about the future of paying in e-shops or generally? Do you think that maybe crypto can still beat it?
Absolutely. I believe that future will be cashless. But as I said, I'm afraid it will take ages, mainly in these traditional kind of markets and traditional kind of customers. Just like I mentioned, the CODs issues, it's still a thing, and it's still majority of orders that are being paid on deliveries.
Martin, do you have any other imaginations?
No, I think the same. It will definitely be cashless, but then at the same time, I think it will be even more intuitive than you can imagine. Like, in some cases, maybe you will not even know that you have actually paid for something, payments through Messenger, Instagram shopping, or something. You can basically be chatting with the bot, asking him what are the like sunglasses, and just clicking on a button, and then Facebook will already have all of your credit card information. So basically, going away from this traditional process that I'm consciously going on eShop and right now the first step, second step, and third step is payment, and I'm putting in the information and I'm clicking on the button. I think that you will be able to purchase increasingly with just pushing something and like not even realizing that you've actually paid.
Yeah, so isn't a good example like this thing that Amazon is trying right now, first shipping then shopping? Like they are gonna pick with AI some products for you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure to what extent this is relevant for eyerim, because we're having our typical customer and typical customer in general for sunglasses is shopping maybe once per year or once per 2 years. But for customer products like toilet papers and especially groceries and so on, I mean, certainly.
All right. Do we have some other questions related to eyerim? Because here is section small talk waiting for me, so yeah.
Hi, have you tried any chatbot experience yet? Which platform have you tried on here?
Chatbot?
Yeah. Have you tried any design yet?
Not yet, but we are planning to, so you can give us some tips.
All right. Any other questions? Yes, so I think that was it. You are free to network here with Martin and Andrea, and thank you all for coming. The first tour, as I said, is starting in 1 hour. The meeting point is in there, right by the hall. So yeah, have a good time and thank you.